What's up, everybody? This is Erica, and I'm back with another episode of I Won't Be Long. And today I have an old friend joining the podcast, my good friend Adarius. We met each other in Arizona. What year was that? Was that 2017, 2016?
Yeah, around that time frame.
He started working at Lexington. And he told me a story. He told me his story. And he recently reached out to me, told me about the podcast, how it impacted him, how it inspired him. And he has a podcast of his own. But he connected today just for him to share his story with you guys. So today we're going to be lifting the surface of adapting to relocation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Perfect. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, so just to piggyback what she said there, met her out there in Arizona, at the same job and everything, and just share my life as I was going through things. I'm originally from the 7-5, for those of you that don't know, that's Virginia, Hampton Road, so Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Newport News, that's my stomping grounds, But today I just wanted to talk about adapting to, my new location. So currently I'm staying in Concord, North Carolina, and I recently moved from
Carolina. Shout out to Carolina.
Right. And I recently moved from Arizona just this past September. A lot was going on. This is right when like COVID first hit too. So of course, everything was happening all at one time. I just had a baby in May and all of that. So it was just like everything was back to back. You know what I mean?
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you for that. So and she just turned 1 this past Sunday. So yep, she getting big.
Yeah, did y'all do it up for her first birthday?
Oh yeah, she a huge Baby Shark fan. So the whole house was filled with Baby Shark toys, the birthday cake. Everybody had little Baby Shark themed shirts.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. So
See,
it was real cool.
I didn't know if Baby Shark was still in, because I've been seeing a lot of kids getting into CoComelon now.
Yeah, that too.
No, I don't know if that bumped Baby Shark out the water. No pun intended.
Nah, that's CoComelon. That's on the TV 25/8. You know what I mean? So that's still going on as well. Yep. But just to dive into it, like I was mentioning, COVID hit and everything like that, and I was like, man, it was time to move. The lease was up pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
And of course, families growing, in an apartment out there in Paradise Valley, the Phoenix area. So I was like out there, borderline Scottsdale at this time. And I'm like, man, what's next? Like, what's next? First of all, I'm now working from home. They cut back the hours. I was working at this IT company in downtown Phoenix at this time. Okay. So I'm like, okay, the work from home situation, kids was home with school and all of that good jazz. So everything was just on top of each other. You know what I mean? So my sister, she's been living in Charlotte for the past 5 years. Well, going on 6 now. She graduated from Johnson and Wales doing her culinary thing. So shout out to her for that. And she was like, oh, you guys come out here. So me and my wife, we was like, all right, let's go ahead and let's jump out there and see what's going on. So we stayed in Charlotte with her for about like a week just to get a feel for the area and kind of shop around. A buddy of mine who I went to high school with, he's into like real estate. So he was just kind of giving me some pointers of where to look. Of course, I didn't want to leave Arizona because I was complacent and I was comfortable. My wife, her family, they're all out there in the West Coast. So this was just going to be like a huge change. You know what I mean? So
sounds out there. Sounds out. Because I'm curious to know, because you're from Virginia, right?
Yeah, right.
When you moved to Arizona, how old were you?
I was 23, just turned it. I was going on 24. I was going on 24.
Got you. So you were already an adult when you moved to Arizona. What was that?
Right.
Because I talked about my experience going to Arizona from North Carolina and just how drastically different it was from North Carolina. But what was it like for you being out there in AZ? Like, what did you sense the difference in dynamic coming from Virginia? Did you like it? Did you love it? Were you ready to go? Like, how was that?
It was a big change. When I originally left Virginia, I had shot out to Oakland, California. But once I realized like how difficult and the life situations I was going through and expensive things was out there, I was like, let me fall back, to somewhere a little bit more reasonable. Yeah, I was getting paid solid out there in Cali, but just to, maintain. So of course they're going to pay you well so you can live, right? But it just wasn't clicking for me. So had the opportunity to go out to Arizona, and I first stayed in Goodyear at this time. And around this time, that's when I was doing like going to school, working at the airport, just trying to push myself through school and have some money in my pocket. We all need some money, right? So I was like, so I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just go ahead and thug this out. Of course, I got my outside life going on, on top of that. And so just trying to balance everything as a young man. Never had that father figure to even like guide me or show me exactly what to do or what to expect. So everything was a learning lesson. So I fell on my face more times than I would like, you know what I mean? And a lot of the times I would like, you know, just keep to myself because it was like, well, I don't want to share all my business and then I'm feeling dumb afterwards. Or, you get what I mean? Or more so like, who really cares? You get what I mean? Who really cares that what I'm going through? You're not about to, hand me 10 bands and be like, hey, fix your life real quick.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So just
for sure.
going through all those plays in my mind there. So once I was able to get to Arizona and I saw just it was more opportunities, I could say, from where I was coming from anyway, especially as a young man. Of course, coming out of high school, I was able to do my IT thing. For those of you that don't know, I do the IT field. So that's my little niche. It's not my passion, but I'm good at it and it pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, okay, here we go. Going through the job, going through the life. I didn't think I was, too welcomed when I joined that company. Of course, it was only one of two of us on the IT team. And shout out to my man Roger for even still holding it down.
Shout out to Roger. Yes.
Shout out to my man there for doing that, and it was a big change though. It was hard, but I can honestly say I enjoyed it because it was a good journey that I needed to take. I was away from home. I was away from like the weird situations with like my mom's. Of course, as I'm getting older, I'm feeling myself like, mom, you ain't about to tell me what you never told me what to do. You know what I mean? Don't try now type, So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do my own thing. And to answer your question though, it was a good change, but I definitely had to like learn, and it was hard though. I learned the hard way. How some people just like, hey, you just gotta learn the hard way. It was definitely the hard way. So I would not say it was easy. I went through a divorce. I was married to my high school sweetheart at that time. Got divorced and everything. So mind you, I'm only 24, 25 at this time. I'm going. You get what I mean?
You were divorced. You were 24, 25.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just like, okay, cool, bro. Like you gotta separate yourself from the situations that you already know. You know what I mean? Coming up, I used to watch my dad beat my mom ass. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to give my son that same scenario. Why? Because pops won't sitting me down like, hey, when you get into it with your lady, this is how you communicate. It was more so like, you know what I mean? Pick mom up off the floor type of situation. You feel me? So I didn't want to give that. I didn't want to feed that demon because till this day, you know what I mean? Like even if I get into it with my wife now, it's a trigger, and I think that's something that a lot of brothers or men in general, but especially for us, it's something that we gotta like tap into. Like when when ladies or your spouse or however your situation is, when that triggers certain things, especially when you witnessed it growing up, that trauma is just sit back there in the subconscious, So that's why I had to like step away. And I'm like, instead of killing my son's mom and him going into the foster care, let me go ahead and just do the right thing and, walk away. Like I gotta disconnect. You get what I mean? Gotta disconnect. So after all of that, of course, I started doing my own thing, and of course, going to court and making sure everything's situated. I put myself on child support, all that weird shit. And it's just like, dang, I got to pay to see my own kid until this day. You know what I mean? So any brothers out there, if you're paying child support, man, just keep doing it. I know it sucks, but it keep the system off your back at the end of the day. You don't need to be sitting in the pen talking about something, oh yeah, bro, I'm in here because, I ain't paid no child support. You need to be in there for catching a body or something serious. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in there for abandonment of child support. But I was like, okay, cool. So life moved on, I started dating my wife now at this time. Of course, she was just my girlfriend. And we was still learning each other, we was trying to, get everything going. And, you know, she was sharing everything she was going through. I was meeting her family, and I'm not really close with my family. So it was like, I didn't have anybody to introduce her to. You get what I mean? It was just me, you know? So of course we start living life. I started getting, you know, better opportunities out there in Arizona. And then fast forward, you know, everything happened with COVID, right? So, and mind you, during all of this though, as Erica mentioned earlier, I got a podcast as well. We haven't touched it since, me and my team anyway, we haven't touched it probably since the beginning of COVID. Our last episode actually was called Pre-Rona. You know what I mean? And it was just,
Wow.
yeah, it's just ironic how everything played out, you know?
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, what's next?
Mhm.
So I was like, well, the lease is up. Let's go ahead and get ready to move. Came out here, checked out some places. Mind you, I was in Arizona though, but I had no luck in Arizona. Like nobody, any application I was paying for, they won't even taking your boy. You know what I mean? Credit scores or anything. Like they was just like not even having it. So that
Yeah.
last one, it was this one house out in Santan. So I was telling the wife, I was like, all right, this that one. Like I was like, we paying, you know, we paying some money for these applications. Like this that one. And Santan, I don't know if you ever been out that way, but it's a good little,
I'm not even
yeah.
familiar with Santan. I think that's way
That's
out.
the desert, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's cool, but mind you, I was cool with it because I'm working from home. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what's and it's no big deal. I don't got to drive to downtown Phoenix every day,
Mhm.
especially during COVID. That didn't fall through. So my buddy I was telling you about, who was into the real estate and everything, he pointed me to a house. It was gonna be a little fixer up out here in Charlotte, but it didn't fall through for me. So, but of course, the lady hyped me up though, right? So I'm paying the money, mind you, spending money to fly out here, go do a tour of the house and everything. I'm like, oh, I can fix that. I can fix that. You know what I mean? Like anything. The house wasn't terrible, so I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, it was in the hood or nothing crazy like that. It was just little. You could tell that the family that was there previously, they just didn't take care of it.
Need some fixing. Yeah.
Pretty much, right? So time is winding down though now, right? We fly back to Arizona, we give the front office the notice, like, hey, you know, we pretty much moving out. They like, cool, you know, we situate all of them, you know, legalities there. And then the lady called me, I lie to you not, like a week before we literally got to move, and was like, yeah, you didn't get approved for the house out here in Charlotte. Like, and
Wow.
I'm and my
A
and
week
mind you,
before?
mind you, I'm blowing her up like daily, like, you know, any feedback,
Yeah.
any, you get what I'm saying? Just trying to, like, at the end of the day, got kids, shawty, like I need, you know what I mean? I need a roof at
Wait,
the end of the day.
so you were you guys planning, were you guys already in the process of moving before she
Right,
called? Oh
right.
wow.
So I'm telling you, like boxing up the crib. We got people buying items from us and everything. So I'm like, okay, this is about to be the first storm right here. Or where are we about to live? You get what I mean? So as a man, automatically, I'm like, you about to do what you got to do. You get what I mean? Whether it's sell drugs, hit the strip club, whatever you got to do to make sure that the family is eating at the end of the day.
I know you weren't about to get on no pole, Adarius.
Nothing crazy like that. You feel me? But just think of fast money. You get what I'm saying?
I got
On
you.
some, just out of fear, right? Out of fear, because it's like, it's not just me. Like it's different if for me to sleep in my car. It's totally different if you got the wife, kids. You get what I mean? Your whole family just on the road or with nowhere to go. You know, and of course, my wife, she got her own family issues going on. So not only trying to handle like my own personal situations, but just trying to be there for my spouse as well and help her through anything that she had going on. So once that lady said, you know, you guys didn't get approved, immediately like my heart just fell out my body. I was like, all right, cool. And I wanted to call her everything in the book other than her name, you know, because I'm like, I've been blowing you up. I've been blowing you up, and you literally wait a week before like I gotta be out. And it was so bad because we told the rent office like, hey, we may not be able to move. Whole time they already rented it out to another family, so we had to leave. Like we had to leave. Like the next family was ready to move in.
Oh my gosh.
Right, they already had the paperwork signed and everything. So I
So
was
this
like,
leaves
okay,
y'all with what? A week
a
to figure
week,
it out?
a week, literally a week. So I
Oh
was like,
my
okay,
god.
cool. So at this time, I'm like, well, at least the wife is already working from home.
Hmm.
Let me see if I could take my job with me. I tell my job the situation, you know, things I'm going through, not to put them all in my business, but just to give them a general scope of what was happening for me, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they was just like, and mind you, they took forever to hit me back too. Like my own job. They were like, nah, probably like probably a couple of days after that lady told me no to the house. So everybody was like, no. Everybody's just like, no. And I'm like, why? Like, God, why am I getting all these no's? What's really going on? So mind you, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm about to be out of here with no crib and I'm about to be out here with no job. Can't be a man out here with no money. You know what I mean? No job, not able to provide in general. So I'm like, cool. We go ahead. Luckily, we pushing every day. We end up finding the spot that we are now in Concord. So I was like, okay, thank you, God. A blessing finally dropped through.
Yeah,
Didn't really get to see the spot only because it was just online. So we really had to go, big hearted, all faith into this move, right? Selling everything back there in Phoenix, loaded up both vehicles. I loaded up a truck. The wife hopped in my car. Boom, we start driving. I turned the trip into like 3 days, you know what I mean? Just because I had the kids with me and everything. So I literally drove from Arizona to North Carolina. Longest trip ever. Longest trip ever.
Wasn't Texas the longest? Wasn't Texas? I don't know which way you went because there's 2 ways you can go from Arizona to.
It is.
And my mom, when I was driving, when I was getting ready to drive, she told me, don't go. She told me not to go it would have been a scenic route. But if I would have went like through the mountains, I guess it would have took me through, I want to say Tennessee, maybe.
That's the way I took.
See, I didn't go through that way. I went through, she's like, don't go through that. It's too dangerous. All of that like kind of made me nervous because I'm driving. It's just me and my sister driving. And,
okay.
And she's like, don't go through that way. It's just gonna be too much, all this stuff. Like go through this route because it's more flat land. When I tell you, I drove through Texas, and that was that felt like 3 days long in Texas.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
I bet. Yeah. I didn't even take that way. So I was just I took the top of Texas though. So I stopped in what's the name? Amarillo or something like that. Amarillo, Texas. I stopped at that was my first stop. And then luckily my wife had an aunt who lived in Arkansas. So I stopped in Little Rock. Okay. And then, then that last stop I stopped in Tennessee. I forgot what city it was, but that was just like that last one. And I was like, all right, from Tennessee, I gotta push. So luckily, a buddy of mine, he was working with Hilton at the time. I was able to get like that family and friends discount anytime I needed a hotel. So, all I had to do was slide him $50 and it stays, and I'm staying solid places, nice hotels, just so I can make sure me and the family are accompanied, Nice. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is really gonna happen. Like by the time I got to Tennessee, I was like, yo, bro, you really on the road. You know what I mean? Like you in all these hours, all I'm doing is just thinking. I'm just thinking about life. Like, what is this about to be like? Am I making the right decision? Is this gonna work? You get what I'm saying? Just all these mixed emotions and trying to talk myself out of the move. Like, just bust a U-turn, bro. Go back. You get what I mean? But it's like you can't go back because there's nothing for you to go back to. So you gotta go forward, right? So overcame that fear, overcame that challenge of just deciding to actually take that initial step, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, you about to leave Roderick and Dayon behind, y'all got y'all MPTG going on, and you get what I mean? And like, we was heavy with it too, constantly, and we ended up doing an ebook we put on Amazon, just like we was into it hard. Yeah, real hard. And
is Dayon the one you mentored from Lexington?
Yep. That was that he ended up, and he's doing great for himself right now. Like he actually just had a baby girl himself, not too long ago. Yep. So it's good to see my brothers from another mother, still standing at the end of the day. And yeah, absolutely. And we all lost accountability, not only with ourselves, but with the group in general, because, Rod had his own thing going on, and then me, and then Dayon, life started just to separate us, not in a sense of where like we hated each other or we were mad at each other. We just started letting life, separate us in that manner, you know what I mean? But we still communicate, to this day, and exactly why we're trying to fire things back up with the podcast on our end. And we've been talking, and we are a legit LLC. So before I even left Arizona, I made sure I went down to the Arizona Commission Corporation down there downtown. We got our paperwork situated and everything. So we a legitimate LLC. We could do some things as long as we stick to it. You get what I mean? Right. Thank you.
Congratulations too, Rod. Dayon, if y'all listening, if y'all tuning in.
Absolutely. I'm gonna definitely tell them that we had the podcast. And from there, I was just like, okay, now that I'm here, I'm crossing into North Carolina's lines, doing the job applications every day for like 2 months, no job. Mind you, my wife, she had to hold down the crib and take care, like literally take care of all of us by herself for 2 months. As a man, I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm telling myself like, okay, you know what you qualified in, bro. Like you went to school, you got skills. You know what I mean? Like don't settle for anything less. But of course, I'm like, I need something immediate. But my inner person was just like, nah, thug it out a little bit longer because that right opportunity is really right there waiting for you. And over those 2 months in North Carolina, I mean, the emotions between me and my wife, I know she was stressed, right? So we're constantly arguing, and the move was just it was a lot within itself. She's never been to this side of the world, she's originally from California, so it was just like, okay, it was like, okay, cool. She don't know anybody, her family's over there, and she's very, very, very family oriented. Myself, I'm not. So she helped me gain that, that family sense. You get what I mean? Over the years, of course. This is an ongoing situation. So I'm like, okay, cool. How can I make sure that she knows that I'm there for her? I love her. I love these kids, but I just need that next opportunity to be that one that's gonna keep us on the up and up, right? Mind you, we had just got us a truck and everything just to do that. We got that repoed. We was late on the bills, all of that, just getting here. So not even a month of being in North Carolina, we but it was like a domino effect. We just got here, not even a month later. We had to go back to Arizona to we had left our other car out there. So luckily we had 3 cars before we left.
Okay.
So we had to drive back out here. We flew, of course, we flew to Arizona, but we had to drive our 3rd car back to North Carolina.
See, now at some point, Adarius, I would have looked into shipping costs. Like
I did look into shipping costs, and I was just like, man, that's too much, and mind you, the job didn't come with me. So I'm like, okay, I'm literally running off like these last 2 paychecks that the job gave me. And I'm like, okay, cool, bro. Like this is what it is. And I'm heated. The whole flight going back to Arizona, I'm pissed because I know when I touched on the ground, I gotta get in the car and drive the car back. And mind you, this is under a month.
The same day?
No, actually we chilled for like she was there before me, and then I came out there probably like 2 days later because I needed my mom to come down and sit with the kids so I could, pretty much, have somebody here for them. So I'm like, okay, we drive that back. Of course, it was a lot easier this time because it was just her and myself, you know what I mean? So we didn't have the kids or babies crying, nothing like that. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get this done. Of course, she's not feeling it, I'm irritated, she's irritated, but we made it back here. Mind you, though, still no job. So I'm running low on the savings, right? I'm like, okay, she the breadwinner right now. And as a man, for any fellas that's listening to this cast, man, if you got a woman that like can hold you down during your struggle, bro, please appreciate her, man. You know what I mean? Like love her to the utmost, because it's those moments right there that really show you who in your corner. You get what I mean? So I love her to death for that. It was a hard time. Like I was crying, and I'm the dude. Like I'm like, I don't cry, bro. But nah, I was crying. Like I was okay.
We need to break that. We need to break that stigma, Darius. Now,
pretty much, right? Bank full of pride.
It's okay.
Absolutely, right? So I'm right. So I'm like, man, okay, bro. Like you got to get through this. So I started listening to a lot of good, inspirational speakers, you know what I mean? Just motivating myself. I'm not even like a church going person, but of course I grew up in the church though, right? I mean, thanks to my grandma, God rest her soul, she kept me in church. So I never had this non-prayer life, if that makes sense. And not to bring religion into this podcast, but just I needed some faith. You know what I mean? And of course, like I'm smiting God. I'm like, God, you got me out here. I'm feeling crazy. You know what I mean? Like, help me. Help me. You get what I'm saying? Like, show me exactly what I'm not doing and how I can be better. And sure enough, I started changing up some of my thought process, and some old habits that I had, whether it was, upsetting my wife, or, being a little bit too hard on the kids, or you get what I mean? Like in the sense of like, I need everything perfect and organized, and you get what I mean? So I can do what I need to do for us. You get what I mean? Whole time though, I'm not taking in consideration of, where you are mentally, or how you feeling today, or you get what I'm saying? That
Absolutely.
that played a major role into how, I could be like, you know what, bro, you got to slow down. I was moving too quick, but I needed things to happen. You get what I mean? At least in my world. And one of my favorite sayings is, if you want to make God laugh, look up in the sky and tell him your plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, how exactly is this about to work? So I started going on to like some interviews and everything. So I started feeling good. You get what I mean? I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm telling them what I'm worth, what I was making at the last job anyway. And a lot of the companies, I felt like they didn't want to tell me I was overqualified. So like I just wasn't hearing anything back. Now here I go again into another challenge. Damn, God, you had me doing all these applications, and looking for a job is a job within itself, right? You got cats doing letters of recommendation. You trying to make sure the LinkedIn booming. You trying to make sure old networks is, you get what I mean? Like, hey, if they call you, I need you to say X, Y, and Z. You get what I mean? So
Yeah, man.
you're
In
trying to
there.
stay afloat. The point exactly, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Not only that, got to make sure, my older kids, they in school, got to register them. Mind you, they got to do the work from home too. You get what I mean? So I'm like, okay, thank you, God. I got a bigger home now. So it's like everybody got their own space. They can do their own thing.
Right.
But it's like, I'm still not working. So the holidays kick in, like Halloween go by, not working. Thanksgiving come by, still not working.
Ooh.
Right before, right, mind you, I got out here in September.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as like Thanksgiving was over, I get this call. I had got a call around Halloween, but I thought it was just gonna be another fluke.
Mm-hmm.
So it was with this pretty much the staffing company. And the lady, she was a great recruiter. I mean, she was on my head more than what I was used to for somebody being a recruiter. Like, she wanted to make sure I got this job, and she felt like I was the perfect fit. Like, she made me believe that the job was already mine off of just her calling me on day one, like, oh, I saw your resume on LinkedIn. So I appreciate LinkedIn. I'm glad, year up, they, helped your boy get to that knowledge there on how to do resumes and all that good jazz. Yep, they helped me out a lot. So it was just things I was never shown, you know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of, just I don't want to say urban kids, but just the kids or young adults who just aren't shown, or they're not put in that lane to even see other opportunities. You get what I mean? Just like put that toolbox in front of them, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever tool they take out of there, they should be able to build what they're trying to build, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a couple of tools if you need to,
That's
but
that's what I loved about Europe. That's it really was the bridge between, like, if you didn't go to college, or if you didn't want to go to college, or even if you chose to go to college but chose to wait a couple of years before after high school, it really gave an opportunity for those kids to learn a trade, learn about real life, learn about business, like learn something that's going to actually bring value to whatever you want to do, a company, like just give you an opportunity, like you said, to put money in your pocket, and also like get you a skill set that you may not have been able to get otherwise. I really, really love that about Europe.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that, as far as just like a skill set or a
Mhm.
trade. Me and my wife, we was talking the other day about how a lot of young brothers, especially the brothers, the young kids, they think, picking up the mic, rapping, or throwing the football, shooting the basketball, that's just like the only outlet,
Right.
and it sucks, but I get it though at the same time, because it's like when that's all you see, or your partner's talking about, oh man, did you see LeBron do that last night, or you saw Curry hit that, or you get what I mean? Oh man, you saw Julio catch that touchdown yesterday. It hypes you up, because that's what you're doing with your homeboys every day. When y'all get out of school, y'all living the life whole time. You're not even thinking that you're going to eventually turn into a grown man. And same for females as well, young ladies, you doing the wrong things out here, whether it's stripping and, the OnlyFans and all that craziness. Is just like, that's not the only way
Now,
to
look,
make money.
don't knock anybody hustle now.
not knocking nobody hustle. I'm just saying it's multiple ways other than like the quick everyday things that you hear and see. You get what I mean?
Like applying and getting PPP loans.
Right. You get what I mean? And the people that was getting that, man, all that money, I'm like, somebody put me on, especially at this time in my life.
Hope you weren't. I hope you weren't, because the government is definitely circling the block on people right now.
They are. Yeah, and I'm kind of glad nothing ever fell through for that, in a sense of trying to get any crazy loans or anything. So like, thank God, for all of that. And I'm just like, okay, where can I really be where like I got a solid work-life balance, right? And I understand, of course, growing up, becoming a man, there's really no such thing as balance. You just gotta allot time in your life for certain things, right? Put them in pockets. You're like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm gonna put this in the parking lot because I gotta go take care of this now. So in a sense of just creating your schedule, creating your vision board on exactly what you're trying to do and how you're trying to better self. So I'm like, okay, this sense of self-awareness started to kick in for me. Like I'm starting to understand exactly who I am because I got a grown woman with kids taking care of me. You get what I'm saying? Like legit, and it's like
I do you mentally.
Mentally, for lack of better words, it fucked me up because I'm like, I was never in a position where I needed that to happen for me. I was that guy. You get what I mean? I was working. I was taking care of 2 call centers. You get what I mean? Trying to do my thing at the same time, have my cake and eat it too. And all of that fell on me. All of that fell on me. You get what I mean? And I had to realize like, yo, like this is not who you are. So no need to pretend. You get what I'm saying? That's one thing. And then on top of that, it's like, you don't need to fall and become, what you saw your pops doing. You know what I mean? And even coming out here, me and him tried to like bond and build. It's for me right now. Yeah. Even for me and him right now, it's not the best, but I don't know in the future, it could be better. But right now it's like, I did something that I never thought I would do. Like, honestly, it took me probably like I cut my pops off for like 7 years. Like when I went to out there to West Coast, cut him off. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even that close to him before I even left VA. But as I met my wife now, she helped me understand like no matter what he did, he's still your daddy at the end of the day. Learn how to forgive and forget. And I'm full of pride, right? I'm like, God forgive. I don't. You get what I'm saying? Like that's where, you know what I mean? That's just where I am with it. But it's like so much animosity, so much anger to what I saw. It's like, bro, you gotta let that go. And as soon as I started letting that go, doors started opening, right? Pull back to that lady, that recruiter, calling me every day, like, hey, saw your resume, everything looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and set you up for, get the drug test going, blase, blase. So I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. The company started actually reaching out to me then. So after Thanksgiving, I get a letter from the company themselves. And they didn't even want me to go through the staffing company. They just wanted to bring me straight in. So I'm like, oh, that's a bet. Because, usually with the staffing companies, you got to play like a little 3-month role. You know what I mean? See if you get hired on, or 3 to 6 months, and see if you get hired on. And if not, they'll probably
temp to permanent.
Right. And they'll see if you can go ahead and, elevate yourself, or if not, they'll have something else set up for you. So I was like, okay, this is a good sign right here. Like I can legit just go ahead and start working. So sure enough, went ahead, passed the drug test, all that good jazz. Got the interview. The interview was so long. I had to interview with like 8 different people. But now that I'm in the company, I know who they are for the company. So the interview process was long, like no lie. I went to the company and my interview was at like 3 p.m. I didn't leave there till probably like 6:30.
Wow.
Just legit, like each person, like I got took to each person office, you know what I mean? Even like the site person, I work for a company called Granges Americas, they're into the steel, they aluminum. So like, like the little Yoplait yogurts and all that aluminum cars, they make the aluminum for all of that. So like I'm working in a plant, but I'm of course on the IT side of it, right?
Yeah.
So what I told them was like, what I was trying to live on and what I needed to make, just to take care of the family. And out of nowhere, they offered me way more than what I even was selling myself for.
Look at
and
God.
I was, look at God, right? So I'm like, yo. And when I left out the door, I cried in the car before I pulled out. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I can't let this security guard see me crying. Shit, going my way home. Like what do you say on Friday? Like, I know he ain't gonna cry in the car. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. I was like, bro, tighten up. You know what I mean? Fix my tie and everything. I was like, yeah, bro, go to the crib, let the wife know. we back in business, you know what I mean? And sure enough, come December 1st of 2020, full time working. I'm still there, of course, 6 months later. I plan on being there for a while because I'm in a great position, and I never saw myself being in that lane. You know what I mean? I always took life so personal, and I'm very, very hard on myself. Even till this day, I'm still hard on myself because it's like I know I can be better. You get what I mean? And it's still things that I got to work on personally. You know what I'm saying? Just self-development and understanding, like, there's things that you love to do, man. You love to do podcasts. I used to get a lot of negative feedback and just bad attitudes about me doing the podcast. I was sharing them with people, or I had this expectation of people to just support it off the rip because it's me. Like you like me as a person. So why wouldn't you tap into what I got to say?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's like why wouldn't you want to listen? Or I've been called like a fake ass TD Jakes and all like crazy, like
really
on though, and I'm like, bro, I don't even pull out the Bible on the podcast, but okay, you get what I'm saying? It's weird, but I started learning.
Wow.
I started learning and understanding, like, some people just get jealous that you pursuing something that you love and they not. You get what I mean? Some people energy just is not yours, bro. So you can't expect that from them, So I got to this this big heavy lane of just like self-doubt. You know what I mean? And I was like, Rod and Dayon, they got their own thing going, man. I'm like, them cats probably not even interested. So I wasn't even trying to pursue the dream in a sense. I was like, we did all this work and we ain't doing no more work. You get what I mean? And I'm seeing them doing their things, on IG and Facebook or whatever. I mean, I don't got Facebook, but I'm just seeing them doing their thing on their platforms in the sense where they living, and I was like, man, let me talk to these guys, let me just see where they at. Of course, and this is recently too, like over the past like 2 months, we've really kind of just connected back in the sense of where, like, we're not going to start things back up tomorrow or the weekend per se, but let's figure out where we went wrong so we can just dive back in it, because we ain't new to this, we true to this. You get what I'm saying? We've been doing it, so it's like, let's not treat our thing like it's a stranger to us. Like we did that, we birthed that, so it was tough moving out here. Of course, adaptation to the relocation. I had to get my family used to the East Coast because they used to the desert and the sand, scorpions and rocks. I got to get them used to like, bees and trees.
Right,
like grass.
Like actual season changing.
Right, season changes and getting everything, situated, and I can honestly say, that 2 month period of just being dependent, it humbled me so much, because it was like, yo, like, all I told myself every day was like, how can you be a man, wake up Monday through Sunday, do the same thing for 2 months in a row? And mind you, when I was hitting that 2 month mark, I'm like, I'm about to give up on all of this. I'm about to just go hit the streets real quick, figure out how I can, do my thing. But I knew deep down, like, that was not the wave, right? Mind you, I had baby girl, especially. So I'm like, I can't be locked up. I can't have her mom bringing her, you know what I'm saying? I can't have the wife bringing her to the jail cell, bringing the kids, to the jail cell, seeing me from doing just stupid shit, acting off impulse, you know what I mean? And just being irritated and not really trusting the process, because we all know that greatness isn't a destination, it's a process. You get what I mean? So really, really just tapping into like who I am. I was like, okay, man, you know what you can do. This is what you have done before. So let me write down everything that didn't work, right? Whole time that didn't work column was so long. Everything that did work was very, very short, but everything that did work is what got me to where I am in the first place. You get what I mean? So I'm like, okay, here goes nothing. I go into this company that I'm at now, and mind you, blind to it. Like, I'm in a position now where, like, I discuss certain amounts of money for the IT department, and you get what I mean? Like, things that need to get bought, and I've never been in this lane. So I'm just like, yo, I'm sitting at the table now. I once used to be the cat, in the background, just waiting for the orders. Now I'm creating those. And it's like, not in a sense of like anybody's under me, but my manager, she's based in Tennessee. So when I show up to work, she wouldn't know if I was at work or not. But that just goes to show what's the saying, do the right thing even though when no one's looking. You get what I mean? So real like integrity, like my integrity was like it turned on like a switch immediately. So I'm like, okay, here goes nothing. Mind you, I'm in these meetings talking, this is of course when I was still new, the whole challenge there. Mind you, I'm still getting used to North Carolina. Of course, I've been to North Carolina numerous of times with living in Virginia, but I've never lived in North Carolina and saw how the people were, or just learned the atmosphere, the economy down here, and of course every day the wife was like, let's just go back, let's just go back to Arizona, let's find something. And I'm just like, nah, you know what I mean? Like this is where we supposed to be, and I started teaching myself, like, when you hit certain points in your life, you're supposed to be there at that exact moment. And I used to like psych myself out, like, nah, man, you ain't supposed to be here right now. Like this ain't even for you. But whole time it was though, because I built a lot of discipline, character. I kept the charisma going. I kept that grit, and it's just like I know firsthand, like my grit is why. You know what I mean? I am the way I am. That's my underlying. That's my bottom line right there. That's my underlying statement. So I'm just like, hey, do your thing, and I bet you it's gonna work out. Before I know it, started, moving in the company in a sense. Mind you, only been there 6 months. So they saw how quick I gravitated. I adapt, to the situation, to the job. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go ahead and figure out what they need from me and how I can be creative and show them a different aspect on this IT thing. You get what I mean? And it's not too many of me in this IT field. You get what I'm saying? So I already come in there with a stereotypical, vision, like, oh, he probably in there blowing it down, blase. Nah, you know what I mean? I had to shake some old habits to blossom into this young man I am today. You get what I mean? So I say all of this, for you listeners on your platform here, to just stay strong with everything that's going on in your life. It will be hard. I know that's cliche as hell, but it's supposed to be, I guess, because I'm still learning as well. But it's supposed to be hard, because if you don't learn from the mistakes or the downfalls, or depending on somebody, and when I say depending on somebody, I mean that in the sense of like somebody that it's genuine love, and if it's not genuine, and I don't mean love from like your spouse or like your boyfriend or anything, I'm just saying love from whether it's a friend or your local church community or a school function, anything that's pushing positivity to you, definitely keep that going, because there's a lot of like misery in the world, and we see what's going on in the world. It's a brother getting shot every day. It's a transgender or gay person in a bad situation. It's a white boy shooting up a Walmart. You get what I'm saying? Like we seeing it, and we don't even talk about it the way we should. And I'm no big fan on like going to the street protesting and everything. I respect everybody who do it, but it's just like I don't want to see more people hurt. Yeah, I think more so I don't agree with it, because I'm scared for you. You get what I mean? But I do understand why people do it, and we can go all the way back to MLK, Malcolm X, you know what I mean? We can talk so much history. There's so much we can talk about, but we don't. And it's the select individuals such as yourself, myself, those other positive Black folk in the world, and not even Black folks. There's white people, Asian people, Mexican people that also support our cause and understand what we doing, what we trying to say. Because, it was one of my favorite tracks on, I don't know if you ever heard Meek Mill's album Championship. Forgot what song it was, but he says a line in there where he's, well, actually it's not Championship. It's a track with Miguel, Stay Woke. I don't know if you ever heard that song, Stay Woke.
Wait, I don't think I may have. I don't know. I'm not even gonna.
No, I got you. But yeah, if you ever get the chance, or anybody who's listening to this, if you ever get a chance, listen to Meek Mill and Miguel, Stay Woke. He says a line in there, like a bar, where he's like, mama teach you how to fight before she teach you how to write. So I had to understand it. And that clicked to me the first time I heard that. I was like, he absolutely right. Like when I went outside, I was told to hold my weight. You get what I mean? But when it was time to take a state exam to go to the next grade, I was tweaking out. I was freaking out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this word is. I'm the last cat turning in the test. Not saying you need to be first, but at the same time, comprehending, that comprehension, and that's what I try to embed in my kids now. I need you to understand, one, what I'm talking about, you know.
Mhm.
And of course, you know, I was just raised in a sense where, you know, a child was, you know, meant to be seen, not heard. And it's just like, nah, let's try to change that. Let's tune that a little bit. Yes, let's keep them in a child's place. They shouldn't be seeing you do your grown thing. You get what I'm saying? But if they do catch you, and not even the sense of catch you, like you got to listen to your kid, but if they see you in your zone, more so, you know, whether you drink or whether you smoke or you do your, you know what I mean, whatever you do, you
Mhm.
just let them know, hey, this isn't for you, you know what I mean, this is what mommy and daddy do, you get what I'm saying, and you focus on these grades, you focus on learning how to respect your elders, your teachers, things like that, you know. So that's just my little 2 cents, I guess, on just on overcoming, you know, just the challenges of trying to take care of the family, as well as, you know, in a sense, like force them to adapt as well, you know. But again, as I mentioned earlier, you know, not when you don't take in consideration of how everyone else feels, it causes this ball of chaos, because you just need everybody to understand where you coming from the whole time. Everybody got a little voice, you know, everybody got a heart, everybody got their own thought process, and what may work for you may not work for me, and you know, vice versa. So it's been great out here in North Carolina. We try to explore as much as we can. You know, it feels good to of course, in my previous relationship, I have a son. You know, outside of my current one. He's in Virginia, so I'm a lot closer to him now. You know what
Right.
I mean? He 5 hours up the road. Whether me and his mom get along or not, you know what I mean? It'll never come between me and him, you know, our
Right.
relationship. And
Right.
as he gets older, I want him to understand, you know, why I'm made certain decisions I made. And I don't want his relationship to be what mine is with my pops. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that, you know, with being a grown man today, I can't fix that. It's just more so of I need I need him in a good place just as well as I need myself in a good place. Because I feel like that harmony would make it more beautiful than what, you know, what we think it could be. You get what I'm saying? So you know, anybody, like I said, anybody out there that's just going through something like right now, and I know COVID's been tough. I know whether you lost a job or you lost I've lost family members over all of this, you know, whether it was due to COVID or other excuse me, other life reasons, you know. It's just like stay strong, because by you not giving up is why you're still here today. You know, keep that in mind, and definitely tell yourself, you know, as long as you believe in you, everything will be smooth. Trust me. Like it's gonna be tough though. You're gonna have the self-doubt, but love yourself. Love yourself.
There it is. See, y'all see why this brother gotta needs to be back on his own platform and speaking, educating, and having this positive impact and effect on the masses and the younger generation coming up. I think one of the things that I connected with you on, Adarius, when I first met you, again, you shared your story, and it wasn't the same story. So you've been through a lot of challenges. You've been through a lot, and at an early stage. But what resonated with me was how you were still in a place. You were the one that told me about Europe and what you guys were doing out there for the students and for the younger people. And you also made an impact on one of the individuals that was going through some troubles and challenges himself, who now is your co-host or was a co-host of, like, is that's amazing. It's amazing to see like just how everything has come full circle and how you're still you're still that same, you still have that same mentor energy, you still have that same drive, that same spirit, that same grit, and how you've been able to overcome a new set of challenges is it's
Right.
amazing to see. It's amazing to see. It really is. Before you leave the platform today, I do want you, if you still have, I'm sure you guys still have your episodes up, of
Oh
your
yeah.
podcast. Share with the people what the name of your podcast is so they can tune in. I'm sure you won't have to worry about any negativity.
Absolutely.
DJ's comments, like, we're trying to build a platform here that are looking to be inspired and looking to be motivated. So it's always great to share any type of resources that we can.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So of course, like I said, it's MPTG. That's our acronym. It stands for Motivational Path to Greatness.
Okay.
So literally, we just trying to pull the greatness out of you. You know, somebody pulled it out of us. which is why we share our personal, experiences and just be vulnerable. We realize when you be vulnerable and you tell somebody your story, it actually helps them out, especially when they can relate. So definitely, follow me on IG. It's Loxton. That's Loxedin. You know what I mean? Roderick, he's up there. Roderick Green. I know he got Big Feet Heat. Check him out as well. He's doing his shoe thing. Big Feet Heat. Yep. He's selling. And he only, if you ever seen Roll Bounce, he got size 17s back there, B9. You know what I'm saying? So, Roderick got the Big Feet Heat for sure. Shout out to him for that. And I know he was doing another podcast. I think it was called Culture of the Sexes as well. I'm not too sure if they still got that going or not, but tap in with them on that lane as well. And we are working on another book. We our first one on Amazon is called Keys to Success. It's a little passage pretty much from Roderick, myself, and Dayon, and we each share a certain key or keys that we've had to use to overcome certain things and just guide anybody else who is just lost, or they're looking for some inspiration or motivation. But we're on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker FM, Apple Pod, you name it. Shout out to the Anchor app. Right. Anywhere, I'll be sure to send any of the links over to Erica so she can go ahead and, share that out. And you guys, just stay tuned. We got a lot of positive things coming. Of course, we all still are trying to overcome the hiatus we was on, but hey, right now, it's good to be back talking. I haven't done this in literally over a year and some change. So it's real different, but it's also cool to share exactly what I've been going through, because again, it wasn't easy, but to the grace of God, I still got my family. They got their health. I got my health. You know what I mean? Life's good. Of course, I got some rainy days, but the thunder in the jungle never lasts.
There it is. Well, thank you so much, Adarius, for joining the podcast. Thank you for sharing your resources. You guys check him out. I'm telling you, this man has a lot to say. He has a lot to say. Thank you. Thank you for choosing my platform, for sharing your story first. I appreciate it. And you're always welcome to come back on.
I appreciate the invite. Thank you. And you take care.
You do the same.
All right.
As always, you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. My name is Erica, and if I can help it, we won't be long.